Hi, everyone, and welcome to Strategic Wealth Strategies Podcast with our host, Alan Porter. Alan, what's going on, man? How are you?
Doing great, Neil. Doing great. There's no dirt in my face when I woke up this morning, so I'm doing great.
And it's fantastic how many people you're helping now. It's got to feel great, right? And just more and more people are seeing that they really have to try another way of investing and taking care of themselves and being safe.
Well, absolutely. Because as I've told you before, I teach people to think outside the box in conventional financial planning.
And that's huge. That's what we need. All right. So today I got more questions for you. Alan, with the stock market, the way it's going, what are your thoughts?
Well, first off, I don't give investment advice. I used to be a registered investment advisor where I had a stock and bond portfolio that I would pay the fee, but it creates a conflict of interest in me because I don't like charging people a fee whether I make money or not. But with what's going on in the market today, nobody knows. I mean, you've got the COVID epidemic that just happened. We've got overstressed stimulus payments going on for years now. It's in billions and billions of dollars. We got wars going out across the in the world today. Our inflation's out of control. The price of food and fuel is up, out of control. People are living paycheck to paycheck, and it's just there's certain things out there that people don't know, and they need to know about.
100% they need to know about them, Alan. And it's like, I'm going to, before I even get to this next question, it's like all these things go wrong. You can't have constant bailouts forever. At one point, things are just going to go extremely out of control. It's like you go to the grocery store or you go and buy food now and you're like the price and you're like, did I just go to like a fancy restaurant? And you see the price if you go to a fast food restaurant. If you just go purchase a couple items at the grocery store, and it ends up being what could have fed a family of 5 3 years ago. It's crazy.
We went to fast food the other day for a sandwich, Coke and fries, $20 for two people. Actually, $23. I mean, it's crazy.
That could have fed a family of 4 for lunch, which is ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. So think about that in so many ways that's the power of entrepreneurship, like businesses like Alan and I, is the fact that we can continue to grow. And that's why investing is such an important thing. So if you are an employee of somebody, this is why you have to think out of the box, because you're not going to be able to just create what Alan and I can create every day, which is helping others and continue to grow by working hard and working smart. But the average everyday person that isn't going to get a big raise really has to think about how they're saving their money and how they're investing it. And this is what you teach. What do you think people need to become? What do you think people need to become aware of when planning for retirement?
Well, first off, you need to understand risk. Are you conservative? Are you moderate? Are you risky? Now, understand this. You may be young and you can endure risk, but when you get older, you cannot have risk in your retirement because you can be wiped out overnight. Uh, you know, I tell people, I said, listen, I'm never going to make you rich, but I'll make sure that you have income to last for life. I don't care if you run out of assets. I can show you how to have income for the rest of your life. It's just things that people don't know. They need to understand. And but being risky in retirement, it's bad thinking. You may have millions and millions of dollars, but you can lose those millions and millions of dollars overnight.
What do you think is the best retirement vehicle, Alan?
Well, we've all got our opinion, but in my opinion and the opinion of advisors that are properly educated, insurance companies have the best tax code approved, tax-free retirement system available today, bar none, and provides many of the guarantees that eliminate risk in retirement that a stock portfolio can't. I mean, it's as an example, what I'm talking about, we're talking about risk in retirement, such as the number one risk in retirement is running out of money before you run out of life. And it's just things like that, longevity risk. There's so many risks in retirement that people don't understand, and they need to be told about, educated on it, so they can avoid it. But a stock portfolio, we've been inundated by the propaganda of Wall Street that a 401k is the only way to go. But people need to understand, Neil, in a 401k, a 1% fee in a 30-year period will reduce your income by 1/3. And the average fee in a 401k is 2.99%. People are going to have less than half their money in retirement. And retirement, a stock portfolio cannot protect you from risk in retirement. In fact, it exaggerates the risk of retirement.
So true. Alan, you just mentioned benefits. What are you talking about?
Well, like I said, the number one, we can eliminate the number one fear in retirement, running out of money before you run out of life. That's the number one fear. Longevity risk, which is a risk multiplier. We can eliminate tax risk and government risk, which is absolutely huge, Neil. You know, people don't understand. This is a congressional budget office report last fall on a $31 trillion deficit. If we don't raise taxes overall by 66% by the year 2030, the country will not be able to pay the interest on the debt. The country will default. And right now, our debt is at $32.9 trillion, and that's less than a year later. It's out of control. But, you know, another risk in retirement, sequential returns risk. And I find that the hundreds of clients that I have, their financial planner never told them about sequential returns risk. And people need to be educated on this because it will decimate your retirement. You'll be out of money probably in the 7th or 8th year if you have a loss in the market in the first few years of the market when you go to retire, because you're taking a distribution out of that retirement. And when you start taking, and you have losses in there in the first couple of years of retirement, you have to take a larger distribution out each year. Well, your stock portfolio can't maintain that because you're not putting any more in. You're taking money out at a larger distribution rate, and you're going to run out of money. And people aren't told this. And I'm talking people 65 to 70 years old. I just talked to a guy yesterday, 72 years old. His financial advisor never told him about it. And I asked him, I said, well, why do you think that is? He said, well, I'm not sure. I said, well, maybe one of the things is he gets paid a fee on your portfolio whether you make money or not, correct? He says, yeah, I see what you're saying. But there's many things in retirement that people don't understand. And I've got doctors that have PhDs in accounting and finance that have no idea of anything I say about what I teach. It ought to be taught in high school, but it's not.
And it's because if that was taught in high school, some of these financial planners would make the kind of money they're making, right?
Right. But the thing is, you know, I can show people how to eliminate the risk of taxation of Social Security and the means test in Medicare Part B, which will be in the thousands per year. Eliminate probate, which is if people don't know what it is, it's a lawsuit that's initiated by you that you're going to pay for. Because I don't know, most people remember Prince the Entertainer that passed away a few years ago. Mm-hmm. He had no planning, no exit plan when he died. And now the government's put his estate into probate. His beneficiaries are going to get maybe 15 to 20% of that estate because the government's going to take control of those assets, sell those assets to pay the taxes on the estate. And what's really criminal about this, attorneys are going to get 6 to 12% of that estate. So you've got to have planning to take care of this. Other things, you know, these products that I have grow tax deferred. You have tax-free distribution. There's no required minimum distribution if properly structured. Now, the only stock portfolio that can do something even with one or two benefits, it's got to be a Roth. You've got to you either have to have a Roth or pay the tax and turn a stock portfolio into a Roth or a qualified plan into a Roth. Now, if you do that, you don't have any required minimum distribution. And I've got people who are 65 years of age, and they had no idea what that is. And it used to be at 7.5, but because of the new Secure Act that took effect, I think, a year and a half ago, it's 72 now. But if you do not take the amount of money the government tells you to take out, Neil, it's a 50% penalty plus all the taxes. And people in the higher tax bracket, they're going to have less than 5% of their money by the time they pay federal and state tax and that 50% penalty. But they don't know about it. The other thing is it does not, again, like I said, it does not affect taxation of Social Security or the means testing for Medicare Part B. But that's where it ends because they can't guarantee you that you're not going to run out of money. They can guarantee you one thing. You're going to lose money when the stock market goes down, and you're going to pay a fee to that financial advisor, whether you make money or not, if you have somebody else manage your assets.
So basically what you're saying is the stock portfolio does not give any type of guarantee.
Not unless it's structured as a Roth. I mean, yeah, like I said, the guarantee is you're going to lose, but it does not eliminate risk in retirement. And people need to become absolutely educated on this.
And, you know, the biggest thing is we talk about employees and people working is, hey, you know, I get a 401k and they really don't, they might contribute to that 401k, monthly, right, out of their paycheck, and then there's a match, and they're like all excited, and and I get an extra amount of this. But what you're very concerned about, if that's the only way people are planning for retirement, is a 401k. So why are they just using that for the retirement and not thinking about anything else, Alan?
Because they've been brainwashed. I think because from Wall Street, telling that okay, we've got this, we can set you up. You have you get such a return, like Dave Ramsey says, it's like 11 point whatever return, which is bogus. Uh, Buy term and invest the difference. That doesn't work. First off, people are going to buy term, but they're not going to invest the difference. And companies don't give pensions anymore. There's only 19% of the people in the United States that have a pension, 3% from outside companies, but 16% are from the government. And a pension is guaranteed income. But the thing is, I think a 401k took place in 1973, and the corporation saw it as an escape from providing pensions, and they're going to take all the responsibility and put on the individual to pick out his stock and bond portfolio, whether it is. Now they have managers in there that make a fee for this, but the average person has no idea what he's investing in. And I asked people, I said, why are you investing in a 401k? And they said, well, it's a tax deduction. I said, no, it's not. It's a tax compounder. Do you think the government is stupid? Do you think the government wants you to pay taxes on the small part, the seed, or do you think the government wants to pay taxes on the harvest, where they control how much you're going to pay back?
That's the
I
truth.
mean, people understand. And I said, it grows tax deferred, but it's tax compounding. Now, well, I just went over the benefits and everything of cash value life insurance. But I tell people, how would you like a financial vehicle where you can take progressive, eliminate the progressive tax system, provide you with turn taxable money into never taxable money, provide you with non-taxable money in income or in retirement and before, protect you from the expense of long-term care. And this is very important, Neil, tax-free, long-term care tax-free for pennies on the dollar, because people don't understand long-term care right now costs between $50,000 to $200,000 a year and goes up by 6% every year. And 70% of Americans are going to need long-term care at some point in their life. 40% of Americans between the age of 18 and 64 are on long-term care right now. And long-term care can wipe you out because Medicare does not pay for long-term care. Medicaid does. And there's a thing called Medicaid spend down. Now, say your spouse is the one in long-term care, you may have $2 million in a portfolio. Well, the government's going to seize those assets to pay for long-term care. And if they're in there for any amount of time, those assets are going to be gone, and the surviving spouse is going to be left with one car, one house, and approximately $137,000. I mean, people just need to become aware of what's going on but they're not, and nobody's telling them this.
All right. One that's another, I guess, scam in so many ways is that, we think about it, Alan, because we're living longer. We can do a lot more things than retirement before, right? When retirement before meant, okay, I'm going to go to an older folks home. I might go and party till 5 and, and go to nap at 7. Well, people are living longer and they want to do a lot more fun things than that, right, Alan? Like, remember our fathers and how they were, right? When they were older, they really didn't have a huge lifestyle after retirement, right? At a certain point, it kind of got slow for a lot of people still living that way. But if you're going to continue to think you can live off of something like Social Security, this is a really bad thing, Alan, because you're going to go from maybe upper middle class to a pretty wealthy life to poverty, to living a poverty lifestyle. I hear this sometimes from older people, and I'm like frustrated. I said, guys, you can create your own wealth, but people need to start planning in their 30s or 20s to think about this, because Social Security is going to do nothing except make you poor.
Yeah, well, and Social Security, Neil, is a huge problem right now because I think it was enacted in 35, first paid out in 1942. You could not get Social Security until age 65. At that time, life expectancy was 62. Now life expectancy for a man is 65. For a woman is 85. For a woman is 87. Longer if you're married. But you can access Social Security at 62 now. And before there were 42 or 44 workers per one individual. Now there's 3 workers per one individual. And in 7 more years, there's only going to be 2 workers for 1 individual. And it's scheduled to run out of money, I believe, in 2033. But it can be fixed. They can fix that. And it's a pretty simple fix, but the wealthy are not going to like it. But because I don't think you have to pay taxes on Social Security after an income of $170,000, I think. But if they have Social Security for taxes from all income levels, that problem will be fixed. But people need to think outside the box of conventional financial planning. I have a team of people that I work with, top CPAs, tax-specific attorneys, and other specialists in the fields, and we collaborate to come up with solutions for people's financial problems. And I treat my business like a doctor. It's process driven, not product driven. I ask question after question, and if those questions aren't answered, and I come up with some feasibility study or some financial plan, Neil, it'll be malpractice on my part. But I teach people to think outside the box. I show them how to reduce or eliminate, and possibly eliminate, both debt and taxes, and set them up with a tax-free retirement, and also show them how to become their own financial institution or bank, to where they don't ever have to go out and borrow money from a bank. They borrow from themselves in their cash value life insurance policies and pay themselves back compound interest, and not the financial institutions. And when I show people how to do this, they are completely amazed. Why has nobody ever told me this before?
Alan, what do you propose for people to do in these trying times?
Well, you need to take control of your assets to find out, of course, of how old you are, but you need to take control of your assets and seek advice from people. You can always call me at 910-551-1046, or my email is strategicwealth0@gmail.com. I've got several books that I've written. I've got several books that I can recommend. I've got videos, not just by me, but by several people, third party individuals that educate people on things like this. Tony Robbins is one of them. I got a 60-minute interview from ABC on another, and the list goes on and on. Ed Slott, the top retirement CPA in America. And these are all videos by them, and they tell them the same thing that I tell people. But people just need to become educated.
All right. Well, again, you contact strategicwealth0@gmail.com, or 910-551-1046. Alan, great show again. Awesome stuff. You're killing it everywhere. You're the guru. We look forward to talking to you next week.
Well, I appreciate it, Neil. Have a great day.
All right. That was the Strategic Wealth Strategy Podcast, guys.